This video is based on the work of Patrick Newman at the Mises Institute, to which I have no affiliation. In the 1880s, the AMA began to lobby for state licensing boards, specifically to restrict the number of doctors. They wanted to direct commerce to themselves and their allopathic doctors. But homeopathic and other types of doctors still proved popular, and the AMA did not manage to secure such a stranglehold. At the time, medical schools were still largely unregulated, and competition thrived. The number of available doctors in all areas increased, despite the AMA's efforts and insistence that this was problematic. The AMA also criticized optometrists as a specialized type of doctor, claiming they were quacks, attempting to drive people to their own allopathic doctors. Circa 1900, the AMA creates a new lobby group called the Council on Medical Education. The CME pushes for each state to only have a single state-sanctioned medical board, and for all medical boards to be exclusively composed of AMA-approved allopathic doctors. It also pushed for its own stricter standards to be imposed on all medical professionals regarding training, education, and licensing, and even pushed for higher tuition fees. They claimed lower-priced doctors were lower quality. AMA President Frank Billings looked down upon these competing institutions, which enabled, quote, the clerk, the streetcar conductor, the janitor, and others employed during the day to earn a degree. Eventually, the AMA found success with their lobbying, and within the first decade of the 20th century, 30 states had removed the mixed doctor boards and replaced them with AMA-dominated single boards, and required all doctors to graduate from AMA-approved schools. The AMA began to see their economic restrictions take effect, and the number of physicians per 100,000 people dropped 5%, and medical colleges decreased by 20%. In 1906, the council visited every remaining medical college in the country, and issued a report claiming only half of them met AMA standards. However, to appear objective, the AMA went to the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching to issue the report. The Carnegie Foundation agreed, and the foundation recruited Abraham Flexner, a man who was not a doctor, had a BA in classics from Johns Hopkins, and pursued psychology at Harvard and Berlin, but did not complete degrees at either. Flexner visited over 100 medical schools in the country, and published the Flexner Report, saying all but a few dozen should be closed. Individuals from all organizations involved eventually say that all institutions need to be patterned on Johns Hopkins University, complete with extensive, expensive labs, stricter AMA-compliant guidelines, and so on. Flexner claimed that the, quote, poor boy had no right to enter medicine unless it was best for society that he does so. Medical schools declined from 131 in 1910 to 76 in 1929. As the population was growing, the amount of medical schools and doctors were shrinking due to the AMA and government cartelization of the industry, which benefits the more entrenched, prestigious organizations. In 1920, Rockefeller Jr. gives Flexner $50 million as a gift to Johns Hopkins of Chicago, and other schools. An obscene amount of money at the time. Still is for most people. Many states use tax dollars to match these donations to state universities, further cushioning and solidifying the position of the established institutions. The results of this cartelization? Between 1910 and 1929, the number of doctors per 100,000 people decreased from 164 to 125, a 24% decrease, 28% decrease since 1900. Rural communities were hit the worst. In cities, the number of people per doctor increased by 9% between 1906 and 1923. In smaller towns, it increased by 54%. The council later states that they had anticipated the decline and felt it was desirable because we had an oversupply of what they deemed mediocre practitioners. Meanwhile, between 1900 and 1929, the average doctor salary rose 500% from $1,000 to over $6,000, and the average price increased about 100%. Is this the free market I hear people criticizing? Regardless of anyone's rationalizations, there can be no denying the economic impact of these policies. What we see today is essentially the continuation of this top-down authoritarian outlook on the world. Who should be in charge of your medical decisions? You, or a cartel in bed with the state? Either way, there ain't no such thing as a free lunch. Tanstaffel.